5. All right. Finally, time to start class again. All right, let me just log into the system. What's this?
Beep, boop, beep. Student not welcome to enter class because student is not vaccinated.
Well, I'm doing only online classes. There must be some sort of way around this. How about now?
Beep, beep, beep. Nope. Student still cannot enter because student is second class student citizen and not vaccinated.
Well, computer is a stupid computer that should let me attend classes because I'm not even seeing people. Why do I have to be vaccinated if I'm doing it all online?
Student loses more points for white rage in addition to unvaccination status. Student banned from university forever and society.
Oh no, my social credit score. It's plummeting.
You're done.
End of skit.
And Amala's not here to say, and scene.
I know, she says that every single time.
It's so good.
I know. No Amala here today, guys. Will here, Will Witt, and Taylor.
Taylor.
Taylor is back from his honeymoon. How was that, Taylor?
It was lovely. Yeah. Got to hang out by the pool and beach all week and be waited on, and it was great.
It's good. Listen, we're all very happy for you, Taylor. We're glad to have you back replacing Amala this week. It is Will and Amala live.
Replacing. I didn't know I was replacing.
Well, what else would it be?
We're back to we're not going to have a full show with everyone for like another week, right?
I know, not until next Monday.
And then you're out
and then
for
I'm
book
gone
tour.
For 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's wild.
So
man.
I know we're gonna have like no time with all of us. It's gonna be tough. But
don't worry, guys. We're gonna Skype in Amala a few times or record some segments with her tomorrow.
Yeah,
and so she'll still be around, and you guys won't have to just be stuck with Will's mustache.
I know all of you guys who are like, I only watch the show for Amala. I only come on to watch it for Amala. Don't worry, okay? You're gonna get some Amala. All right? Don't worry. But today we're talking about some stuff. You guys saw the skit at the beginning. We're talking about this Rutgers student. Rutgers, that's how you say it, right? Rutgers.
Scott went to Yale.
Scott went to Yale. What
is that how you say it?
It's Rutgers.
Okay, right. Rutgers.
Scott's in Amala seat today.
Yeah, Scott's there. So he's
we needed some more good looks on camera with Amala missing. So.
I know, someone to actually get people to watch the show. Okay, but this student, Tyler, if you want to pull this up, I'm showing the article. Rutgers bars unvaccinated student from attending virtual classes, okay? These are all virtual classes. All of the classes are online. I can't think of any reason, first of all, why this kid would need to have a vaccination to attend virtual classes that he's not seeing anyone with. And the story goes on to say, a New Jersey student has said he is barred from taking classes at Rutgers University because he has not been vaccinated, even though he is only studying virtually from home. All of his classes are at home, okay? He chose, according to his article and his responses from the Rolling Stones, is that he chose to stay at home and do all online classes so that he didn't have to get vaccinated. And his dad, who knows about all this, knows about his decision, is vaccinated himself, but he said, I believe in science. I believe in vaccines. But I am highly confident that COVID-19 and variants do not travel through computer monitors by taking online classes. That's what the dad said. So as you can see, none of this is actually based in science. It is only based in control. Why are you smiling? Scott's over here smiling.
The absurdity of it is
the absurdity.
comical.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And so you can see that none of this is based in science, okay? They tell you at the beginning. They say this is for your own public health. This is for your own public good, right? And then it just keeps escalating and escalating until it gets to a point where it's like, oh, if you want to see people online on a virtual computer screen, then you still have to be vaccinated. And it's like, you should be able, why does the university get to choose to do that? Why does the university get to tell you what to do? You know, why can't people make their own decisions about their own health?
We're so far removed from taking logical, rational measures against this virus that this type of thing can happen. And I mean, the New York Post writes a story about it, but like, where is the national outrage over the fact, like, this is so absurd. You're not going, this guy cannot give someone a virus by sitting in front of his computer in his house. Like, he's more likely to spread a computer virus than a real like virus to other human beings. And yet he can't attend this class. Like, what a clown world.
I know.
It's complete insane. People have lost their ever loving minds.
I know. He's on LimeWire or Pirates Bay getting more viruses than actually with COVID. They need malware for that. But the person from Rutgers University, this is also strange because Amala is usually the one who comes and reads the stories, and then I just comment on them.
I know.
And now I'm here reading.
We don't realize
stories.
how much she carries the team because I'm like, well, Will, you're gonna have to like read the stories and do all the transitions and stuff. And Amala does so seamlessly today.
I know. I never.
We just sit back and comment in our male privilege and just let her do all the work.
I know. I wait for her to like say things, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I will comment on that about what she reads.
I know, and like I do that with you, so I'm like the third like layer of laziness. And
I know. Okay, but the Rutgers spokeswoman Dory Devlin, DD, insisted that the university has provided comprehensive information and direction to students to meet vaccine requirements through several communications channels. She noted that Rutgers' policy differentiates between a fully online degree-granting program and classes that are fully remote, but part of a course where other students are on campus, as in Haller's case. Devlin told the site the staff continue to work, helping students apply for waiver requests for medical or religious reasons, while conceding they should expect a 2 to 4 week turnaround, during which time they will not have access to university systems. So these, you just have to wait? Well, there's like nothing else you can do.
Yeah, so like he's not a fully online student because his degree is not online. But this semester, he's taking all online classes. But because of the technicality that he is not a fully online student, they're not letting him attend his online classes because he's unvaccinated.
And then you have to wait. You have to wait all this time, like 4 weeks for all these different things. I mean, I was talking to a kid a couple days ago, who's planning the book tour stop for me at St. John's University in New York. And he had gotten a religious exemption for it. And then the day before classes started, he basically comes and he's like, they lost my religious exemption. They lost it. And so now I don't have it. And now they're saying that I can't go to classes for the next 4 weeks until they find it or get my religious exemption resubmitted for it. It's like these universities don't care at all about any of the health and safety of the people. It's like, just let them do it. If they had it and you were able to do it, or they're off campus, then why do they need this?
Bureaucracy ruins everything.
Everything.
Like, I think it was a tweet that you liked, and I saw it, and then I liked it. But it's right in your wake, bro. Yeah. But it was like a graph of like how many new doctors have joined the workforce in the last few years, and it's like a flat graph that's like barely increased over time. And then it was like the amount of administrators that have joined the force or whatever in the last several decades, and it's like astronomical. And this is bureaucracy ruins everything. Like, go to the DMV. Even I was just in Nashville for my wedding, and we went to, my brother just opened a brewery in a suburb of there called Gallatin, and he wanted this mural on his new brewery that he made, that it's like an 80s theme, 80s movies, inspired action movies, and he had all these cool characters on there, and it was like this awesome mural, and he had to get it approved by like the local art council that's like this non-elected officials, just like random people who are appointed by the town of Gallatin or whatever, and they voted down his mural just because they had like problems with the aesthetics of it, and were like, well, it's going to be on our public main street. When my brother was like, are you kidding me right now? Like, I'm the one paying for this venue and paying for rent like for months on end while you guys have everything shut down for COVID, and I'm not even able to open my business that I've been paying rent on for all these months and months. And then I hire an artist to concept artwork, and he's like, go buy your own place and set up a mural of your own liking. And it's just these unelected bureaucrats, even down to like something as small as a mural in a town. Look at that, and then look at what's happening in the medical world, what's happening in this article, in the administration. It's just like, there's a reason why conservatives are for small government, and it's because of BS like this. Just
tell your brother to put like a pride flag in the middle of the mural.
I know, honestly, that type of stuff's approved like willy-nilly. So.
Exactly, but then you could just not do it. You could have him say that he's going to put the pride flag and then just not do it, or like a BLM fist or something.
Yeah, well, then he'd be just arrested as soon as the non-BLM fist pride flag would go in.
But here's a question for everyone watching about the bureaucracy. Can you name a government program that has ever ended? Anyone? Can you name one that was started and then was ever discontinued? There's practically none. You could maybe think of one or two examples, but in the sheer amount of government programs that have been started, there are practically none that have ever been ended. That just shows you what happens when you have bureaucracy. You have bureaucracy, and then the bureaucrats need assistance, and the assistants then need assistance, and then you have to give them all pensions, and then you have to give the people who are deciding how much money goes out to pensions, those people now need jobs. And it's like you just have this huge cluster of people who do nothing all day except for administrate. And nothing ever gets done, and everything gets bigger. I mean, you had like over the last 15 years in this country, our national debt doubled. In just like 10, 15 years, our national debt doubled. How is that possible? How could that happen? It's because you have so many people working in government who don't care about actually the quality or efficiency of the work they do. It's all about administrating. Administrating should be illegal. I mean, it's like the worst thing there is. Because it means nothing. It means nothing, and it does nothing.
Yeah. And I think we've just seen a divorce in our society in the last few decades of like, well, people are bureaucrats or politicians, etc. The media are no longer actually accountable to facts and the truth. And so we can look at something like like Social Security, and we can do the math, and we can see like, holy crap, there's not going to be money for the people that are paying into it now when they retire. And we just ignore that. Or holy crap, we're adding to our national debt astronomically year by year. This is completely unsustainable, and our economy is going to collapse if we keep doing this. But we're not accountable to those facts because we can just sweep them under the rug, ignore them, or pretend like they don't exist and keep with our talking points of like, oh, you're an evil person if you want Social Security reform. It's like, no, you're an evil person if you want to perpetuate this bureaucratic system that does not work mathematically, and you want to continue making this lie expand. It's like when you were saying that like bureaucracy leads more bureaucracy, it reminds me of how like when you tell one small lie, you have to tell more lies to cover up that lie. And it just feels like we're just living in this smoke screen of that the real facts on the ground are so hard to get to because it's covered up by all this web of lies, and the bureaucracy and the systems that are built on all these lies are just things that don't work in the real world. And if you're just like a clear-headed person looking into this from the outside looking in, you're like, wait a second, guys, this just mathematically does not work. And yet we're just living as though, well, I'm sure it'll work out. Future generations will figure it out. It's like
the bureaucracy is created by the same people who are on the outside trying to influence you. I mean, you have people who in the mainstream media and at the universities who are doing things like lobbying the bureaucrats to get more privileges. And so then they all work in tandem together to make all of you think that this is actually good for you, that the bigger the government, that the citizen also gets more rights. But people think that the government, or at the university, the bureaucracy of the university, or the bureaucracy, stupid HR departments of your work are going to help and protect you. In reality, like, these types of bureaucracies only slow things down. Yeah. Like, this is why you have startups who have like 7 employees that just have a ton of great ideas that start something magical and amazing and creative and new and do amazing things. And then they get all this bureaucracy from above, and they get shareholders, and they have HR departments and all this. And then they're a shell of what they once were. I mean, I'm sure you could imagine going and looking at a company like Google when it first started and saying like, wow, this is like the greatest thing ever. Those guys who started something like Google or Microsoft or any of these other things. And now look at them. They are in many ways evil in some ways, these giant tech companies that censor people, that think that they control the entire narrative, the entire agenda. But it's like you can start out as something cool and able to do creative things and amazing things. But, you get too many cooks in the kitchen, you ruin everything for it.
Yeah, and it's the reverse. I mean, what you said a minute ago is like the bigger the government, they think the more your rights are protected. But in reality, like Dennis Prager says, the bigger the government, the smaller the citizen. And the citizen is the individual unit. We talk about it. The individual is the smallest minority, and we need to protect the ability of individuals to create and flourish and do things like you're saying, like take risks and be entrepreneurs. And instead, we load them down with all this bureaucracy, and it's like unless you fit into one of these. Unless you're if you fit in as a cog into a pre-existing machine like these huge corporations or whatever, then there's not really room for you to grow and flourish. And that's why like a lot of small businesses and entrepreneurs are leaving California, because there's so much bureaucracy that it's such a difficult environment in which to try to start anything. And we can't stamp out that spirit of innovation that is at the core of the American identity, and that's what all these bureaucrats are doing.
Speaking of too many cooks in the kitchen, let's see if this transition works like Amala.
Amala, text us if you approve of that transition.
Yeah, get in the comments. When I'm gone for my events and it's you guys, I go in the comments and I'm starting to, I chat with you guys.
I was on my honeymoon, so I was like, I just should not be going on my show. She was here?
She was here?
Tyler says Amala was looking.
Oh, Amala. Tell us what you think. Okay.
Amala.
Amala.
I'm in the comments.
Okay, so
Super chat us, Amala, so we can see.
yeah, Amala, $50 so we see it. If you really want us to see what you're saying, $50 or more. All right, so this tweet over here came out from a dude named Hamed Ahmadi. I could be butchering that. But this is him complaining about food. He said,
he's not complaining.
Well, he's not complaining. Okay, that's like the worst thing. I hate it when people do that. When something happens and it's such like a snide way of actually complaining. You say like, I'm not complaining, but this chicken was pretty cold. It's like you are complaining.
It's a Karenism.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not complaining, but there were an uneven number of ice cubes in my iced tea.
Yeah.
And I need to speak with the manager.
Yeah, it's like, you know what you did. You know you were complaining. But he's saying, not complaining, but this is what I got last night for dinner. And the next meal is 12 hours later. Refugee life might be safe, but never easy and favorable. Fort Bliss, El Paso, Texas. # Afghan refugees. # Afghanistan. Here's a picture of his meal. He's got what looks like some chicken cutlets. I can't tell exactly.
That are half eaten by
that are half eaten. Some cantaloupe watermelon, and then he's got these pieces of bread that he conveniently took out of his picture.
Almost, but they're still in the picture.
I know. It's like if you're going to try and hide it, that it's not in there, like at least do a better job where people can't see it. But, I mean, is that really that bad of a meal? Is that horrible? Are we feeding you gruel? Like, this isn't gruel. Like, this is a decent enough meal. So if you guys don't
Prison
understand...
Mike ate much worse than this while being tortured by Dementors. So you can suck it up and enjoy this chicken. Yeah, you can suck it up, Ahmed. Or Hamid. But this guy coming in, he's a refugee, okay? He's an Afghanistan refugee coming into America. And he gets this free meal. And he comes on and complains about it. Do you think that many of the people in the 1900s or 1800s, people who came into Ellis Island in New York, do you think that they were even getting free meals? I mean, they weren't getting anything. They were sent with $0 or anything to come and move to this country. And they moved here because they wanted to experience a new life and do amazing things. They didn't come in here and complain that the cantaloupe wasn't ripe enough. Like, but that's the level of... Well, and this is also coming from someone who is being chased by gunfire and machetes as he boards American helicopters, to escape oppression by the Taliban. We had a conversation this morning about how you pronounce Taliban. Is it Taliban is how Americans say it, but apparently the correct way is Taliban. Brandon from our team corrected us this morning. But
is that why?
I think Taliban is better to say. Yeah, I think the president says it that way, and some other people. But Taliban. Anyways, yeah. You're complaining about this, like, how about a little perspective? Like, you're getting a free meal as a refugee to the wealthiest country in the world, and you were able to escape the oppression of a radical Islamic regime that is going to take away all your rights and freedoms, and you're not going to have free meals, much less or freedom.
Yeah, I mean, how about a little bit of gratitude?
Yeah,
like just saying thank you for this meal. I mean, you should be coming over here and being so thankful for having that. We let you into this country, and all of the things that we're giving you. We were supposed to go to campus today, but we went to campus and there was no one there. But we are going, and we are going to ask people, what do you think about Afghanistan refugees? You think we should allow more in this country? And people would say yes. This is at California State University, Northridge. And then ask them and say, oh, I'm actually with this refugee organization here in America. Would you be willing to house a refugee in your house? We'll place them in your house, and we'll bring them over next week. How's that sound? And then see what they say to that. And of course, they're all going to say no. They're not going to say, oh, yes, this Hamid, 40 years old, can come and stay in my dorm room. Like, of course.
Complain about my chicken.
Complain about my watermelon and cantaloupe. Like, of course, they're not going to say that. But it's so easy to say, like, oh, we just got to all these people and just let them all in. But it's like, what about the American citizens who are still there, who we aren't letting in, who are still stranded there, who aren't coming back to this country? And then we have people who are coming in here who we are letting in before American citizens who are coming on and complaining about their free lunch. What a disgrace that is.
Who are married to 13-year-old little girls and stuff too. Did you see that?
Yeah, the child brides and everything. I mean, that's horrible as well. And it's like we're letting these people in. And there was the one guy who was a rapist. I mean, the one that was just the one that they talked about, one of these Afghan refugees you bring in. He was like a rapist back in Afghanistan. You bring him into America without vetting him properly, and then they complain about the free lunch, and you have American citizens and American allies who are still stuck in Afghanistan who can't get back home. How disgusting and horrible is that? I mean, that's why I think people are so mad about this. This tweet went pretty viral with lots of conservative people coming on it and saying, you know, here's what we think about it. Be grateful. And this is pretty dumb. But it's like there's a reason for that, because people still have family members and friends and people who they know closely, who they love, who are still stuck in another country halfway across the world. And you're letting people back into our country who don't care about it and aren't grateful for the things that we are even trying to provide for them. I mean, what a disgusting way to look at the world.
Yeah, and I think it's important to say, like, this isn't an anti-immigrant thing, but if you look at the tone of ingratitude and just lack of perspective that this tweet sort of communicates, it's, you know, we would be more than happy to have refugees or immigrants come in the country that are aspirational, who are eager to assimilate, who are eager to, you know, contribute to society and eager to, you know, adopt the American ideals and system of thoughts and beliefs. But that's not really what is coming across by this. What's coming across with this is entitlement, and you know, that's not the type of people we want coming in. I mean, someone in the chat just kind of snarkily asked, well, Will, would you let a refugee into your house? And I'm like, well, my answer to that is not one of these refugees today, but you know, give me a few years and give me a bigger house than my 1.5 bedroom apartment here in LA. And you know, I would love to have like a foreign exchange student or some other type of immigrant who's like studying for a degree or something like that. Like, I could totally see myself doing that in a few years, but there's an entirely different approach to, you know, assisting someone in who's pursuing the American dream and who is assimilating and adopting our values into culture and, you know, gratefully embracing that and building on it, and as opposed to someone who's complaining about a free lunch as they're escaping, you know, a dictatorship.
Right.
It's like,
with that video of asking people if you would have a refugee in your house, it's about the hypocrisy of it. It's about them saying, yes, we should let tons of refugees into our country, but then when it comes to actually taking responsibility for it and saying, why don't you house it in your own house? Then it's them saying, oh no, you know, I can't house one in my own house. So it's showcasing the hypocrisy. You know, it's different than me coming on and saying it that I would let one in my house. And first of all, you have to vet these people. Yeah. That's the most important thing. And they're not being vetted, obviously. These people aren't being vetted. I am not letting any refugee into my house until they have properly been vetted at all. I don't want to let any person into my country even until they've been vetted, because you're not getting people who want to assimilate or love this country, and
until they've been given a prescribed an Nobel Prize winning drug that will help them against parasites and things like
they need some horse dewormer.
Yeah,
that's what they're all getting.
I mean, that's what the CDC says. So
well, we got to trust the CDC.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, they know everything.
Sorry, I just threw that in for free.
No, thank you. That's what we have Taylor here for. Throw things in for free.
You know.
All right, Libs of TikTok. We love the channel. This landlord offered his unemployed tenant a job to help pay rent. Tenant declines. Let's watch. First of all, have you guys seen the movie Whiplash?
No.
Yeah? He kind of looks like the teacher from Whiplash.
Was it J.K. Simmons?
Yeah, is that his name?
Oh, I just watched the OG Spider-Man, and he's in that.
Yeah, he's the head of the Daily Bugle.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, here's a prime example of what I'm talking about. This tenant right here has lived in my apartment for 12 months without paying a dime. Him and his wife and his 2 children. He said he was out of work and that's why he couldn't pay his rent. So guess what we did? We offered him a job. He's a cabinet maker. We said, come work for us in my construction company. Even if you want to do maintenance, we offered him a job. He turned it down 3 times in writing, yet he still gets to stay there and not pay rent because of the moratorium. His wife is collecting unemployment, plus the bonus of $300 a week, which is $1,200 a month, which, by the way, his rent is only $1,000 a month. And they refuse. She turned down a job 3 times. We offered her an office job, something that's unskilled labor, to give them an opportunity to work and better themselves. And they've chosen to turn it down and waive the moratorium at us. And of course, as you're all well aware, the moratorium has been extended into October, and they still get to live for free, setting a terrible example for their kids, refusing to work. Who does that? Setting an example, I don't want to work. I want to collect unemployment. I don't want to pay my rent. That's what we're training people to do now these days. Yet you folks don't understand why I get upset. 12 months, do the math, $12,000, has not had to pay a dime because of the moratorium. He will owe it later. Of course, we can go after all the unpaid rent, But unfortunately, you can't get blood out of a stone. But this is the shame of it all right here.
Did you guys see his username?
No, what was it?
Jeff never had job security. That was his username on TikTok. What an awesome name. That guy was a stud. He did that one take, and I don't think he said once.
That's better than I can do on this podcast.
That is. Sure. No, it was really good. And he was like, he takes this picture of his own tenant and puts it on TikTok for everyone to see, just putting this guy on blast.
I am pro shaming for people who refuse to work. You remember we watched that Australia news segment of the guy who like had COVID and went in an elevator by himself and like sneezed, and they like on national news in the country were like, this guy's the worst of the worst, the worst of the worst. And they shamed him, said he can't go to Outback and get any blooming onions for the rest of his life. But really they broadcast nationally that like this is the scum of the earth society. Look at this guy going in an elevator by himself during COVID. Like what the heck? Like that's ridiculous shaming. And we were like, and you know, his social credit score went down to 0, whatever. But like people who are offered jobs multiple times and refuse them, that should be like, you should have a public record of how many times you've refused jobs or something. The madness has to stop. It should be illegal. I am pro. Yeah, it should be illegal not to work when you have the opportunity to. I am pro publicly shaming people who refuse to work, and I know some. Yeah, no, I should drop names right now, but I'll refrain.
Yeah, let's get their pictures up.
Let's get their pictures up and do a talk about them.
Let's talk about all their secrets.
This scumbag.
But you gotta. It's like, it makes sense though. It makes perfect sense because these people.
Like why he's upset?
No, well, no. I mean, why these people wouldn't work?
Oh yeah.
Why would you work? I mean, you're getting paid to not work. You might as well. But again, I mean, just like the guy was saying, I mean, that money will be owed at one point. You know, it's like the chickens will come to roost.
Yeah, so, I mean, like the national debt.
Yeah.
But I mean, for this, I'll believe it when I see it. Honestly.
Yeah.
But
you don't think anything's gonna happen?
I don't know, man. I mean, this was emergency COVID, I have kids, blah blah blah. Like, I don't think our government is going to be hard on these people anytime soon.
No, they're going to continue to be soft on them, and then people who actually have money are going to have to foot the bill for all this stuff again.
Yeah, classic.
But
you know, people will do what they're incentivized to do. That's why, like, I joked a minute ago about like shaming people who won't work, which I still think is true. I mean, hey, it's biblical. If the man won't work, he shouldn't eat. But I think that it's really, you don't blame the people necessarily, but you blame the policies. You blame the people who make the policies, right. Because people will just, if you make a policy that says you can stay home and sit on your butt and collect rent checks for as long as you want or indefinitely, and we will not kick you out of your house for as indefinitely, like, how much can you really blame a person for doing that? Because they're just a human being who will act in their own rational self-interest, and according to that, that sounds like a great deal. Now, you would hope that people have enough ethics and moral fiber to like reject that and want to get off their butt and go contribute to society and work and not make the economic problems worse. But they can't. But I would still say that it's more the fault of the people who make these policies and the people who vote for them that allow this to happen. And that's the people that we should really be blaming for this. But there's just no accountability from the people who benefit from these to the people who enact these policies. It's almost like how California's run.
Yeah. It's like in the 1960s, there were tons of experiments done by, like B.F. Skinner and people like that about positive reinforcement. I mean, positive reinforcement is like the most powerful thing you can do to get people to do something. So if these people are continually being paid and continually being told, oh, it's okay, you don't need to work, and it's fine for them, they're going to continue to do it. There's no reason for them not to. People have to be taught that type of ethical behavior, that this is how you are supposed to act in a society. But when they're not taught that, then they're going to continue to act only in their own self-interest in a selfish way. Because this isn't just someone acting within their own self-interest and saying, I want to live in a cabin away from everyone and hunt for my own food and like that. That's my own self-interest. This is my taxes, your taxes, Scott, all of our taxes going towards paying for people who refuse to work. Why do we even work? Why does my mom, who's a nurse, she has to pay for health insurance and all this kind of stuff, and people come in getting free healthcare from her every single day, free drugs, and they're not working? Why does that make any sense? Why do we have to pay for that? when they refuse to work. Not, of course, there's scenarios where people, I get it. We don't want people to be dying out on the streets and saying, no, we're never going to take care of these people, of course. But you have people who are taking advantage of a system obviously set in place that was made for people to take advantage of. If you make something so easily able to be taken advantage of, that's all people are going to do, is take advantage of it. And I hate paying for it. I hate being taken advantage of, and I hate having to pay for people who are lazy.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
It just goes to show you how much our sense of like civic pride and nationalism and like the values of the like American hardworking spirit have just deteriorated in recent decades. And there once upon a time, you would be a social pariah if it was, you know, if it came out that you've just been mooching off the government and everyone else's tax dollars. That would be like no one would want to take that on because it's so shameful. And in our culture now, it's like, it's such this culture of coddling and, you know, it's just excuse making, and there's zero like accountability. The gravity of our culture is toward victimhood and helplessness instead of toward being empowered and being responsible for yourself. And that it used to be the gravity of our culture. What you're raised with is like, hey, you have to make something of yourself. Nothing's promised to you. Go out there. No one's going to do anything for you. You've got to go become competent, learn a trade, learn a skill, go out there, start a business, do something useful with yourself. And it was like aspirational. And now where's the like inspiration and aspiration in our society today? And where is it in our culture? The stories that we tell, the things that we focus on in the media and all that stuff, none of it is on like these good stories of great things being accomplished by great people. It's all this, this is the most recent racist person. This is the most recent example of how these type of people are oppressed. And don't we need to just coddle on this type of people more? And it's like, that is none of that. You cannot build a healthy, successful society on that. And America was built on the precise opposite of that. And we're like completely losing that spirit. And that is very scary.
Yeah. And you should never leave your house because it's too dangerous. And the world out there is crazy. And also you can just order all your food on DoorDash. And you're a woman, you need a job, you can just do OnlyFans. That's super empowering, right? It's like these are the societal standards that we've given for people nowadays. And so people, of course, have no aspirations to do anything outside of it. It's like it's easy to just blame millennials and say, millennials and Gen Z, they're so stupid, aren't they? Oh, we're boomers and they're so much worse than we ever were, right? Even though I'm only 25, which was my birthday this weekend. Happy birthday to me, okay? I turned 25. If you guys want to donate to PragerU and congratulations of me turning 25, you can. Feel free.
I'm surprised you didn't say and pre-order your book.
Yeah, well, listen, I was waiting for you to say that.
There you go.
Thanks, Taylor. I knew you'd do the marketing for me.
Yeah.
But you have all these, like, it's easy to just say we'll blame millennials. But in reality, there are like all these societal things that have been set up that are barriers for many of these people. And so it makes them have this attitude. Society around them, like we were just talking about, blame the policies, not the person. It's like the policies and systems of technology and all these different things around millennials and Gen Z have turned them into these gelatinous messes where they are completely content with staying at home, not getting married, having jobs that require no sort of aspiration or motivation. And so there's nothing going for them. There's nothing immediately in front of them that they say, I am really excited about this. What's exciting about, swiping right on a million people a night on Tinder? There's nothing like that gets your heart racing about that. There's nothing like that gets your heart racing about playing video games all day or having your food delivered in a plastic baggie. Like there's nothing exciting about these things in life that we are now so accustomed to. It's like exciting to go out and meet and see a cute girl at the grocery store and say, oh, like this could be my chance. Like maybe I could meet someone who I really like. Like those are the kind of things that are cool. But it's like people don't have that kind of stuff anymore. It's so disconnected. I'm kind of going on a lot of different things. But you guys know what I'm saying, where it's like we can blame millennials, but there's so many other things that have come to create this world around them that has made it so insulated for them.
Yeah, I think it's true to say it depends on how you frame it, because you can blame it as though like, okay, yeah, the millennials have all these extra barriers in social media and, the housing market and wages and all that type of stuff that is, holding them back from being able to have a good life. But it's like this, regardless, and this comes into play with like the whole systemic racism thing. It's like, regardless of the factors that have led to whatever position you find yourself in now, it is still true that taking responsibility for yourself, adding competence to yourself and going out there and doing the best that you can is still, no matter how many excuses there are for you, that is still the best way out of things.
Right.
And
you just have to teach people that that's important.
Yeah. And I think there's just there is an underlying current of this despair, or what do you call it? Oh gosh, what's the word for nihilism? Mm-hmm. When it's just like, oh, nothing matters and nothing can be improved upon. We just need to, and then where do they turn? Whenever they feel like they have no other options, whenever you no longer believe that you can pull yourself out of a situation, whenever you no longer believe that you can achieve something, it's like kids who are raised in houses where their parents tell them you'll never amount to anything. Like, guess what? They probably are never going to amount to anything because you spoke that over them and that's what you told them, and you broke their spirit because they don't believe that in their ability to change things. And if our whole country loses that and loses the belief that a whole generation loses the belief that, like, hey, I can take responsibility for myself and make my life better, make my family better, make my community better, make my city, state, country better. The battle is already lost, and you might as well turn to nihilism. But I think that these younger generations need a talking to that's like, hey, look, stop focusing on the excuses and the barriers that are in your way, and stop and look. If you okay, there's this corruption and it's bureaucracy, all this stuff. Okay, cool. Well, learn of ways to effectively fight against it and not just sit around complaining about it and contributing to this perspective of nihilism, because that's not going to take you anywhere except making society be dragged down.
And I feel like there's just so many young people don't even realize like that's what's happening, you know? Like they almost don't realize that there is another way. They've never even heard of another way.
Yeah.
You know? They like don't know that you can be passionate about something that's like amazing and creative. I'm sure there obviously are some millennials. I'm not trying to pigeonhole all of them, but I'm like me, you know, I'm someone who did something amazing, no offense, or just not to be too vain, but you know, I did something pretty cool. And so there are people like that, but it's really hard. It like takes a lot of work. And so I think that a lot of people don't realize that there are opportunities out there for people to make amazing things with their lives and be creative and spectacular.
Look, and here's another thing that goes unseen a lot of times is like, there's a kind of in tandem with this TikTok we just watched, there was this Washington Post article that we were reading earlier today. It was talking about how there's like 10 million available jobs in the US, but only 8 million unemployed. And yet the whole narrative of the Washington Post and what I see on Twitter all the time is like, well, these people aren't taking these jobs because they're low paying and all this stuff. And it's like, okay, it's that is not how it works. You have to, like Drake knew, it started from the bottom. We'll get to Drake in a minute, but it started from the bottom. Now we're here. Like you got to start somewhere. And you know, like flipping burgers at McDonald's is not supposed to be a job that sustains you through life. It's where, you know, we saw an article the other day, like they're hiring in Oregon, like 14, 15-year-olds to do this because they can't find anyone else to do it. But it's like, if you're on the bottom of the competency ladder, then guess what? You're going to be bottom on the wage ladder. That's just basic economics. You can't, it would be wrong for an employer, and not just wrong, but like nonsensical for an employer to pay you more than what you're contributing to. It's just basic economics. And unless you're willing to start somewhere on the ladder and start to work your way up, then like who else is going to take responsibility for you? You can't just expect society or the government to come in and coddle you and cradle you and provide for all your needs. And like we had a little pocket of that in this last year. And like, you know, you've traveled around the country, you go to a hotel and it's like, oh, our hotel bar's closed today. And you go to a restaurant and they're like,
all over.
Oh,
so annoying.
You have terrible service all over everyone's seen it. And why is that? It's because people are not going back to work because they've been sitting home, and Ubers are crazy expensive. You can't get an Uber ride anywhere. And it's because people are not going back to work because the government has made policies that let you just sit back and collect checks, and that is destroying our moral work ethic and fabric as a country. And I'm tired of this idea that it's like, well, if you have to start on a job you don't like, then you shouldn't have to start at all. And it's like, I'm just going to sit back and wait for, you know, the revolution to come in and they'll take care of me. It's like, yeah, good luck with that. No one's ever tried that before.
And then I can be a nudist painter forever and make billions.
Yeah, and it can set up Chaz in you know, Portland, and you know, nothing will ever go wrong there. Even though immediately they started having poverty and supply chain issues and murder and all this stuff.
You don't even know how to grow vegetables, you dunces. God. It's really not that hard. I have 3 different herbs. Well, the lavender died, but the other ones are doing fine.
Herbs are hard to grow. I tried that too.
Herbs are hard, man, but the rosemary and spearmint are doing very well. Actually overflowing the planters now. But the lavender died. Well, actually, Rocky tore it up yesterday. Well, it was already kind of dead. And then my dog, like, tore it up while I was making Nashville hot chicken. Anyway, that's a whole different story, but it was a crazy day yesterday. I had a crazy birthday, as you can tell. Okay, things got pretty wild.
Things got spicy.
Things got spicy. All right, we're gonna move on to our advice segment. Dear Will and Amala. It's usually Dear Will and Amala, but Amala's not here, so now it's Dear Will and Taylor. Okay, so you guys asked us on Instagram, on the PragerU Instagram. You can also follow me and Taylor at the Will Witt and at Taylor Trandall. Trandall is Trandahl, just so you guys know. And you can ask us your questions for advice that you want. So first, starting off. Wait, okay. Dear Will and Taylor.
You need to maximize your screen, bro. Everyone can see your tabs.
Oh, well, the tabs are
hit Command Enter. There you go.
There we
okay.
go. All right, fine. I never do that. I don't know.
Amala would have never done this.
See, I never. I can't believe you've done this. I never do that because then you can't see what the other apps are at the bottom. You know, I get it, but okay.
When you're broadcasting to thousands of people,
no, I understand. No, I get it. I get it. Okay. Well, did you guys? Actually, I have that little folder that says stuff to hide from my viewers. That's kind of a Easter egg for you guys if you ever saw that. Okay.
You're actually still not doing this right because you're not in slideshow.
Oh my goodness! How do I do it?
You hit Command Enter or go to. I don't remember. Anyways, it's fine. Yeah. Let's just keep going. Hey.
Oh, okay. All right. Fine. I figured it out. Good job, Will. All right. Dear Will and Taylor, how to be more confident in life and getting dates from @Truettes_World.
This is Will's favorite kind of question.
This is my favorite type of question because I know how to get dates. Medjool, honey dates, all sorts of types. Fill them with goat cheese. It's my favorite. Wrap them in bacon. I
don't think people got that pun.
Okay,
that's fine.
Whatever. I think that it's incredibly important that if you're trying to be confident and get dates, you need to be confident before you try and get dates. Okay? You need to you don't want no woman's going to want you if you're all weakly and unconfident. I'm sure there are some women who enjoy that dominating aspect of a man, but that's not the type of woman that you want to be with. So you want to be confident in something in your own abilities, whether that's something with your intellect or a skill or, your relationship with Christ or whatever it is, confident in something that gives you the know-how and the intelligence and wisdom to go up to a woman and say, hey, this is what I am. I do this. I'm confident in it. And then they will be more attracted to you. But if you're not confident in anything, no amount of confidence in picking up girls or something is going to help you. You need to achieve confidence within yourself before trying to hit on girls.
Yeah. My advice in how to approach a woman confidently and how to know how to do that is to ask Scott, because
Scott,
surely he knows how to do it. You just got him off guard here.
Yeah, this is coming out of left field, but honestly, you just got to go in with the confidence, even if you have to inflate it yourself before. Stare at yourself in the mirror, stand up straight, put those shoulders back, and kind of just take a couple deep breaths. And honestly, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you're rejected. It doesn't really matter what that person thinks because you'll never see them again in your life. So honestly, you just got to take
unless you're in high school,
take the shot. Yeah.
Well, and she'll tell everyone what a loser you are.
Yeah, exactly.
True. But that'll only make you stronger in the end.
True.
Honestly, getting those rejections and kind of just holding on to them, but not letting them control your future or how you go about your daily life. In the end, it'll end up helping you. So shoot your shot, honestly.
Yeah, seriously, just do it. I think
just kiss her.
Yeah, just kiss her. Just kiss her. You got it. I think it's important that you said you'll never see them again. Yeah. Because I think that scares a lot of people. That they go up to some girl at a bar or wherever at church or at their university campus and they're cute and they want to go say something to them and they're like, oh, but what if they don't know that they're never going to see this girl again. All you have to do is say something to them, and maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. If it doesn't work out with her, she's not the one. She's not good enough for you, King. Okay?
Yeah. But if you're not confident enough to win a date, it's her fault, not yours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, MGTOW. Okay? No, but that's good advice. You're never gonna see this girl again, so you might as well just try anything.
Let her rip.
All right, next question. I think we answered that one perfectly. You're welcome. Dear Will and Taylor, how do you help young adults understand personal responsibility? Seems to be an alien concept. At Terry.Teramoto Jr.
I watched Will and Amala live and listened to Taylor give a big tirade about it off the back of a story of someone who refuses to work and take responsibility for themselves.
It's in my book, actually.
There you go.
You guys can pre-order my book and find it out. I think it is something that has to be taught. It's not something that is just going to be inherent in you, especially if people are always giving you things. I think that discipline is incredibly important. I don't think people have had enough discipline, especially my generation. I don't think that they're disciplined enough when they make bad decisions or when something goes wrong in their life. They're not told enough that what they did was wrong. And I think that's a big deal because every single person in my generation thinks that I should be able to win all the time and I get a trophy for every single thing that I do and I can do no wrong. And if something bad happens, it's the world's fault. It's not my fault. So I think that if you are a parent or if you are a boss or something where you are in a leadership position and you are with young people, I think that you need to discipline them.
Yep.
You know, make sure that they know that there are consequences for their action.
That's
because
the
then
word.
they'll be like, oh, I'm not going to make this mistake again.
Right.
Because if I make this mistake again, I'm going to be screwed. So you need to teach them that there are bad things that happen.
Yeah. People will not learn to be responsible for themselves until that they've suffered the consequences of failing to take responsibility for themselves. And there have to be consequences associated with your lack of responsibility before you'll ever, learn the value of taking it. And so, like, if you're a parent, like, give your kid a responsibility. Hey, take the garbage out. Hey, do this or that. And if you don't, there will be consequences. And then be consistent in enforcing those consequences. And that is how you form character that'll understand, I'm going to take responsibility and do the things that I'm responsible for. If you spend or have your whole life being shielded from consequences, you're going to be a horrible, entitled, bratty person.
Yep.
And again, that's what I think is happening to our younger generations right now is we're being shielded from having to take any sort of responsibility for ourselves. We're being able to just play the victim and then you get coddled. And that is what's leading to a massive lack of personal responsibility in our culture right now.
I've dated girls and had friends, people who you could tell never got grounded when they were younger. You could tell. And they never got in trouble, and not because they were always perfect, but because their parents were way too easy on them and didn't ever discipline them when they did something wrong. And you could tell that they had some problems when they got older because they couldn't deal with any sort of weakness in their life, and they were weak themselves because no one ever told them that anything they did was wrong. And so, of course, you're going to be weak. And so when something hard happens in your life, instead of dealing with it, you cry about it. And then it's 2 a.m, I'm on FaceTime with you crying about something that doesn't even matter. I'm like, I want to go to bed. Can't you handle this yourself? It's so annoying.
And like, if your life sucks, it's probably your fault. Or even if bad things happen to you, like you can still control how you respond, what your response can be, and what kind of person you're going to let that make you into. And if your perspective though is just, oh, bad things happen to me, and that therefore I'm a victim and it's everyone else's fault, like you're never going to accomplish anything or amount to anything, and you're never going to be a type of person that is worth admiring or emulating or making society better in any way. You're going to be a drain on everyone around you and on society. Yeah. So just stop being a victim.
I know. They're all draining each other. They all get together at coffee shops and stupid craft brewery bars and be victims all together like a bunch of vampires. Like that scene
on Twitter
in I Am Legend where you have like all the vampires huddling around. Yeah, like that's what it's like with a bunch of like victim leftist hipsters.
It's a cesspool.
Yeah.
I think one of the really cool things, like harkening back to what you were talking about in Oregon, having 14 and 15-year-olds having to flip burgers with these minimum wage jobs. I think like there's a silver lining in that because teaching younger people how to earn money or earn whatever they want is a huge plus. So like I think there's a flip side to that entire downside of having young people having to take over for those younger positions. That
I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it reflects poorly on the adults who refuse to work, but I think it's a great thing. Like I took my first job when I was 15. I worked at a Starbucks in a Target in West St. Paul, Minnesota, and I saved up a ton of money to help me pay for college, and that was very useful.
Yeah.
And
it helps you build a sense of pride too. You earn that money by yourself. You went in there, you woke up early, you did it, and that's an easy way to start.
And you get the reward too. You get the money, and you get to spend it, and you get to manage it by yourself, and you can buy that Xbox or whatever it is that you wanted to do.
Yeah, I had this hard ass boss when I was a lifeguard. My first year lifeguarding, it was easy coasting. I just chilled most of the time. And but then the second year they were like, all right, all the lifeguards, all they do is chill. So we need to like bring in like a hard guy. And they brought in this guy, Ben, and he would call me Bill. That's how hard he was. I still went by Willie at the time, and he called me Bill. And this guy would be so hard on all of us lifeguards. You know, we're watching a pool where no one ever drowns or anything happens, and we're basically just tanning. And he's like being like the hardest on us. And there were consequences. If we took our eyes off the pool or someone came to talk to us on the guard stand, like we would get in trouble. And that was like real consequences. And after that, a lot of the lifeguards got a lot better at their jobs because this guy was super hard on us, and we were disciplined at our jobs.
It's like that Batman that Amala talked about a few weeks ago.
Yeah. It's like, even though it was an easy job where it was like I could have an easy coasting job and not have to do much and kind of fly under the radar, he came in and disciplined us and said, this is the way it needs to be done. Because when push comes to shove, and then this girl, actually, she was doing you guys know what a gainer is? A gainer is when you do a front or a back flip, but you jump off forward. Some people don't know what that is. But Tyler, do you know what that was? Okay.
I was just thinking The Office. When Andy was 360 gainer.
Yeah, exactly.
Into the trash can.
But this girl did a gainer off the board, and she hit her neck on the board on her way back. And I had to jump in and save her. And it was like, but if I had been goofing off, like before, and I didn't have this discipline, then who knows what could have happened.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, the girl lifeguards were still freaking out. They didn't know what to do. They're like, do we call 911?
Women, am I right?
I'm like, calm down. All right, it's going to be fine. And we saved her. You know, it was great. But
now, I would just
need that.
Piggybacking off of that for a second, like, I would just say, if you're a young person at a job right now and starting your career, like, the advantage of the culture being how it is right now is the bar is so low for you that if you just take your job seriously and act like you care and take your responsibilities seriously, and you will shine so bright. And you will totally outshine everyone you're working with, and you will get promoted. But if you just go in and like do the bare minimum and be entitled and have a bad attitude, like you're not going to go anywhere, and you're just going to go back and be with all the zombies in the hallway, you know, complaining about your life and contributing to the cesspool of lazy people who are entitled. But if you really take ownership of what you're asked to do and excel, it'll take you places.
Yeah. All right, next question.
You too could be looking at Will Witt's mustache across, you know, for an hour every day on a show.
Taylor worked really hard to get to this position.
Yeah, let me tell you.
The things that he had to do.
So many TikToks made, tweets written.
Yeah, back in the day. Taylor used to do like my social media stuff.
Yeah, that was part of the things I was responsible for, that I excelled at. It was really struggling.
No, you did.
I really had to elevate,
excel at that.
write the perfect caption so people actually watch these videos.
Oh, well, someone's got to do it.
By the way, real quick, Amala has been in the chat rating our advice in each one. So with the last one, Amala said, Will gave it 10 out of 10, solid. Taylor, 11 out of 10, just because your rating has to be higher than Will's. And Scott, 10 out of 10. So well done. Amala, keep on
I don't
reviewing.
like people who give higher than 10 ratings out of a 10 out of 10. That's like people who say, oh, you put
I think you're just saying that because you lost to somebody.
No, I'm not saying that. I think that's a bad rating system because a 10 would qualify as perfect. If you got 100% on a test, that means you got everything right. You can't get more than everything right. So, Amala, poo-poo on you, okay?
Yeah, what was your take on extra credit then in school?
Well, that's different because it's a different assignment. That's a different assignment. That's not on the same thing.
If there's extra questions.
Well, then that's not extra. That's not more than 100%. That's extra
Will just
questions.
got schooled.
No, I did not. That's a dumb answer. Okay.
All right, next one.
Here we go. What are ways to focus on school if it's so boring? At Tyler Disco.
Tyler, was this you? Are you a disco fan?
Is this intern Tyler? I don't know. I probably can't give the best advice.
Will, how
on
did you
this.
get through college?
Oh, you know, school is so boring, and I just decided to put my heads in the books and really just muscle through all 4 years, all 8 years to get my graduates and my master's in political science. You know, I really just muscled down and did it. So, you know.
Will dropped out twice if you guys didn't know this.
If you didn't get the joke. Yeah, no, I'm not the best to answer this because I thought school was really boring and I didn't like it because I wasn't learning much, and so I quit. But I wouldn't give you that advice necessarily. Unless,
well, that's good.
Yeah. It depends. I mean, if you have something else that you're really passionate about that you can learn as a skill or a business idea or something like that, then, you know, you don't need to always focus on school so much. You know, you can go and do other things, do amazing things. It's only until recently that school has been like totally mandated, and not even just mandated, but like culturally mandated as university. You know, it's culturally mandated basically nowadays to go to university. Otherwise, you're almost a pariah if you didn't go to university these days, these liberal indoctrination centers. So I think that if you find it boring, there are lots of other alternatives. I'm not saying you have to do it. Maybe you just need to toughen up a little bit and just get through it and stop being a baby. But also, if you have these other skills or things that you want to do, then do it.
Yeah, I mean, assuming this person is either a high school student where you will need to do well in grades wise in high school in order to have the maximum number of options available to you for your future, and or if you're in college and you believe in the degree that you're working on and you just happen to be in a boring class right now, but whatever that situation may be, if you're engaged in something that is advancing you and getting a bad grade will harm you in that, then it's not about the content of the class or how, like the job of schooling is not to entertain you or be interesting. They don't have to win you over with how fun it is to go to class and do your homework. Like that's not their job. It's your job. You signed up for this, or you need to be educated and at least get your high school diploma and get as good of a grades as you can so that you have as many options available to you as you can. It's your job to don't make it about how boring the class is, make it about your drive to succeed and your unwillingness to fail because you were bored. And like, that's a terrible excuse. And like, you just have to reframe it in your mind and like, stop putting the expectation on school to be interesting to you and start putting it make an indictment on yourself to be like, well, I will not fail. I will not get a worse grade than I can on this. And look, and I've been there. Like I went through, in college, like you get really good after a while at how can I get the maximum grade with the minimum amount of effort. And, when you're older and you go, like my dad's working on a Master in Divinity right now, and he's like super deep in the books and spends like an hour writing his little post on his online class to like, for the discussion because he's like genuinely interested in the material and stuff. I know it's like cute, right?
Yeah. No, I remember those online posts.
Yeah, I know.
I hated those.
And all the other kids are like, they take like 2 seconds and write this like thoughtless thing and they misspell 5 words and you're like putting all this time and you realize like, well, then you see the grades and you're like, oh, well, I can still get this good of a grade with 50% of the effort. I'm not opposed to that. It's chestnut checkers. You know what I'm saying? Like get through school as efficiently as you can. Tyler knows what I'm talking about. He's in it right now. But at the same time, like don't let your grades suffer because you were lazy. And if you have a vested interest in getting good grades, which everyone should. So anyways, like I don't know, it's about the system and you have to beat the system and you have to do whatever you can as an individual to be better than what you're in. And you have to stop thinking about it in terms of, oh, well, this is boring. So, I can't pay attention. Woe is me. Like that you're not going to win at life with that attitude.
Right.
Yeah. It's kind of a slippery slope. I feel like if you attack school with that sort of outlook, there's a larger chance that you could become like the guy we were talking about earlier in the TikTok video where you may become a leech on society if you don't find it within yourself how to motivate yourself, how to, gain that sort of spark of inspiration or something. Like you need to find it within yourself. Nobody can give that to you. You need to find a way to make it interesting. You need to find a way to motivate yourself and make it a game if you have to in your own head, kind of talking or like what Taylor was saying, just push yourself to be better the next day. All of it is just pushing you forward, and you really again don't want to end up being like that leech in the or sloth human being.
Yeah.
Later
I
on
found the best. Yeah, I got to go on a little bit quicker, but I saw when I had a really good friend in the class that I really hated, that always helped because then you guys could talk about how much you hated it. And that was always helpful.
Whatever you got to do to get through.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Dear Will and Taylor, met the perfect girl on a trip, but she lives pretty far. Acid trip? Should date local or tell her how I feel? At Sharbalus_46.
Oh, that's quite a name.
It's quite a name, Sharbalus.
Sharbalus.
Yeah, you sound like a Greek monster. Like go through
like a Pokemon. Wild Sharbalus appeared.
I don't know. I'm very torn on this. And yeah, I'm very torn on this.
There's no objectively correct answer to this. I don't think.
I'm against it. I am in my head against it.
Yeah.
I've done it before.
Yeah, it sounds dumb.
Every single time it's gone awry, it's gone sour, and I am not a fan of it because I'm sure that you can find someone more locally who is also great. This isn't just like Scott talks about before, where like this girl might never see you again. It's like you might never see this girl again, and it's going to be completely fine. So yeah, I say just try and find someone local. I think that's probably going to be better for you. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I tend to agree. It's usually like this type of thing is like, oh, I went on a trip and met someone and they're perfect. And like that
His name was
sounds just
Javier,
very,
and he played mariachi
Exactly.
at the restaurant I was at. He was so handsome.
he doesn't speak a word of English, but I just felt a connection.
Yeah, he said we should get married. He should come back immediately with me.
He said he wants a Verde card. Yeah, it just sounds like an overly romanticized type of thing, and but I guess it's like never say never, but at the same time, like have some perspective about this, and I don't know. Oh, I guess by the way, this is a guy talking about a girl, so I guess it's like Javierina or something.
Estebana.
What?
It depends, how hot the girl is, and then you can kind of.
Oh yeah, if she's a 10, just go for it. Like
Yeah, but if she's busted, you don't worry about it. All right, next one. This is a good question. I like this one. Okay, dear Will and Taylor, confidence in women equals empowerment. Confidence in men equals arrogance. How to deal with this? From Samuel West. I think this is very interesting because you read every single woman's magazine, like Vogue and I don't know, what are other women's magazines? Cosmo, Cosmopolitan,
Teen Vogue.
Teen Cosmo, Preteen Vogue,
Women's World. My grandma reads that one.
Oh, I don't. They sell Lord of the Rings dining sets in it.
No, it's all like about gardening tips and stuff.
Gardening tips, yeah.
Rachel Ray magazine.
Yeah, but it's like all these women's magazines. All they talk about is like how great it is to be an empowered, confident woman. But like you don't see that as much from men's media or film. It's like they're telling like. Men are not put in that same light that you should be this confident person. You look at very confident people in America, very confident men, and they do get labeled as arrogant. Like someone like Kanye West. Maybe Kanye West went a little overboard with some of the things that he said in terms of his labeling of himself. But regardless, he is someone who's done great, incredible, amazing things. Someone who has somewhat, in my opinion, earned a level of massive confidence where you have done things that have helped people. It's not just doing things for himself. He has done things like that music that he's made has changed tons of people's lives. He's donated millions of dollars. He's done all these great things, created brands, all sorts of art. Like you have a right in reality to be that confident. So yeah, I think that it's I think the arrogance as confidence in men is something that has been created by almost like the feminist movement to say, no, men, you aren't allowed to be confident. Only women are allowed to be confident. And I myself, I feel like I'm obviously a very confident person. I'm very confident in a lot of things that I do, and I feel like in a lot of ways I've earned confidence in some ways. And I think that men who have done things that they think are spectacular or that other people have judged as great should be confident, because being a confident man makes you into a better person. It genuinely does. Being a confident man means that you are willing to go out there and do unsafe things because you feel like your ability to do them is better than potentially someone else. So confidence in men is a good thing and shouldn't just be looked at as arrogance. Yes, you can be a narcissistic man. You can take advantage of women. You can do all these things. That's different. We're talking about a man who is confident in himself and his ability, and it should not be looked down upon. It should be heralded to be a confident man.
Yeah, I think there's a way to be healthily confident to where it's not, because there's an insecure type of confidence that is like I'm projecting confidence, but I'm not. It's exactly. Like, and I think you can sort of intuitively see the difference. Like like a guy that drives a big loud truck, and it's like the joke is he's compensating for something, but he's really compensating for a lack of confidence in himself as a normal person. I mean, not saying that everyone drives a big truck, but you know what I mean. Like that whole like machismo. You're overcompensating for like some deficiency that you feel as a man, and that just lacks, like when you talk to somebody who you just like, wow, this person's very secure in themselves, and I am interested in what they have to say, and they're accomplished, or they've demonstrated a level of competence. I had this thought once of like your level of confidence should mirror your level of competence as a person. And a lot of people are more competent, but they lack confidence, and you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be more confident. A lot of people are incompetent, but overly competent or confident. And those people end up in positions of influence in society, and they lack competence, but they had the confidence to carry them into that. And like, we should, ideally you have those things in balance to where, you're how confident you are is reflective of how competent you are as a person. But anyways,
You can tell when someone is confident versus being an insecure narcissist, because the narcissist will look at other people around them and try and talk down to them. They get
that's
their
true.
confidence out of trying to be better than other people. Whereas a real confident man is confident because of his own abilities, regardless of other people. I mean, you could have a very confident man who lives out in the woods by himself, and he is confident because he has learned how to skin a moose better, like so well, and he can skin a moose in 20 seconds flat or something like that. I don't know how long it takes to skin a moose. Probably longer than that. But maybe that's why he's so confident, because he's so good at it. He can do it so fast. But that's like what real confidence is not having to put others down for your accomplishments and great deeds. It is just being confident that you did things an amazing way and you're proud of it.
Yeah. One more thought here, to quote the great Amala Epinobi. She says that, what is it, like feminism is trying to make women into subpar men and men into subpar men as well.
Mm-hmm.
And like when you talk about like it's toxic masculinity for a man to have confidence, but it's empowerment for women to have confidence. Like I feel like I like Amala's point about that, is like she wants women to exhibit more the feminism right now preaches that women should exhibit more masculine traits and be subpar men, because they'll never actually be men, but they should act like men in society. And men should be subpar men because they should embrace more feminine traits and reject their more masculine ones.
Yeah.
And
I think
anyway,
both people should.
that's a 10 out of 10 for your point, Amala, today, even though
That's
you're not here.
tailor-made for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, both men and women should both be confident. All right, last one. What to say to someone that says, friendly advice, don't talk about your conservative ideas in public. This one is from Alicia Baruti. I would say friendly advice right back. Maybe don't give me stupid advice in public. Because I think that you should definitely talk about your conservative ideas in public. And you should talk about all of your values and ideas in public, even if it makes people uncomfortable. Because these are uncomfortable times. And uncomfortable times create hard times. And we need to have uncomfortable discussions to make better times.
Nice.
Perfect.
That preface was very much like the not complaining.
Yeah.
It's not terribly friendly advice. Honestly,
Yeah, exactly.
so-
Yeah, exactly. It's like putting something like condescending
Yeah.
ahead of the thing you're going to say. It's like, just say it. Just say the condescending thing you were going to say without saying this little qualifier.
It's confidence.
Yeah. That's real confidence right there.
Yeah. I would say be yourself no matter what. Refuse to lie about who you are and what you believe, no matter what situation you're in or who's around you. Refuse to say things that you don't believe in first, and then do your best to say the truth as you see it. But that doesn't mean you need to be stupid and brash about your waving your beliefs in front of people's
Yeah, of
faces. So I just think there's a degree of wisdom to being, you can be wise with how you convey your ideas, how you interact with people with whom disagree with you. But at the end of the day, just refuse to lie with your actions or with your words about who you are and what you believe. And I think if you do that, then you'll be okay.
Right. That's exactly right. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I thought this was a very successful episode. Tomorrow will probably be even more successful, and then exponentially from there. So make sure you tune in every single day at 2:30 p.m. Pacific. That's 5:30
We're
p.m.
confident to
Eastern.
say how successful tomorrow's episode
Yes,
will be.
no, I am very confident to say it's going to be a banger. All right, an absolute slapper.
Much
So
better
make
than
sure-
Drake's album.
Yes, much better. Oh yeah, we were supposed to review that. It sucked. Okay, I give it
There's
give
the
it 3
review.
out of 10.
Yeah.
There weren't even any hits on it. There's no God's Plan. There's no Nice for What. There's no In My Feelings. Drake's new album, garbage. And the new album cover with the emojis. You guys know I hate emojis. I think they're stupid. And then you have a bunch of pregnant women emojis. I hated it. Hated almost everything about
no
the
pregnant
album.
man emojis. So
No pregnant man. I mean,
very
unbelievable.
discriminatory.
Yeah, horrible. Men can get pregnant, Drake.
No, yeah.
Okay?
I hadn't listened to it until like right before the show, and all the songs sounded kind of the same. And you were like, "Is this a Drake song from 10 years ago or from today?" I don't know. And none of them were like, "I need to just jam to this." So
Yeah.
I'm with Will on this. It was trash.
Thank you, Taylor. I
So
appreciate
these
that.
two white guys with our impeccable taste in rap
Hey, just
music.
because we're white doesn't mean we can't judge music of a different color. It's like people,
music is color.
yeah, but it's like black people judge white people music.
It's true.
It's the same thing. Why can't we all just judge whatever music we want to?
We're doing it.
That's right. I'm gonna go judge
Confidently.
some more rap music now. just to prove a point.
I'm going to judge it even harder.
I'm going to judge it even. It's even worse than I just said, actually. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, we'll be live tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Pacific. That's 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Make sure that you follow me, Taylor, PragerU on social media at the Will Witt, at Taylor Trandle, and at PragerU.
And at the Amala Amala
and at the Amala.
Don't forget Amala, just because she's not here.
I forgot that
we'll be doing some segments with Amala this week, so
yeah. So
if you're just an Amala fan, tune in for that.
Yeah, no, if you're just like Amala, which I get it, but whatever. Tune in. She'll be on the show a couple times this week.
Catch Candace tonight. Amala's on it.
Is it tonight?
I think so. Yeah.
They film it today and then put it on tonight?
Yesterday. They filmed it yesterday. So
no, they filmed it today.
Amala posted that it's tonight.
Yeah.
So
okay, well maybe it's tonight, but she definitely filmed it today because she flew in yesterday.
9 p.m. Eastern. So
maybe
that would
they
be
did
6
film it
p.m.
yesterday. I don't know. Amala, you can message me and tell me.
Anyway, Candace Owens Show on Daily Wire tonight. Amala Benobi will be on there along with some other great guests. So,
yes, so check that out for sure. And remember that you can subscribe to us on Google Play, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, our podcast. It's growing a lot. We're really excited about how much it's been growing on podcast apps. So if you want to make sure that you hear it, maybe you miss a day where you don't get to catch us live on video, go to the podcast apps and you can just tune in on your drive to work. Maybe while your wife is yelling at you about the dishes, you can put on your AirPods, listen to Will and Amala live. Whatever it is that you're doing, you can listen to us on Google Play, Apple,
if your
Spotify.
homework is boring, just
if your homework is
turn
boring,
on Will and Amala live
put
instead.
it on. Whatever. You're on a run to have preemptive stopping of COVID. I don't know. Okay, whatever. You guys.
If you're halfway through the Drake album, you're just like, I can't listen to this anymore.
Yeah, if you just
turn
want to
on
hear our
Will and Amala
reviews,
live.
yeah, please do that. Well, that's about all we got today, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we're gonna see you guys tomorrow. Peace.